The Chiefs and the Bills, we know, are on the one of the top-tier teams of the AFC. The AFC wide open. The NFC is super talented, as we've talked about. It does. It feels like a year where there's more teams that could win the Super Bowl maybe than ever before.
And that's where we start, is with the Bills win over the Chiefs, 28-21, a win that I understand we still view them as a really good team, but with losses to New England, a loss to Atlanta, it felt like the Bills needed this to kind of remind themselves, like, oh, no, we're a Super Bowl contender for a reason.
Right.
The Buffalo's 5th straight regular season win versus the Chiefs. I think a lot of people forget that because of the playoff lack of success against them. But Josh Allen is now 5-1 against Mahomes in the regular season, 0-4 in the playoffs. So this is something we've seen already before, Chris, and it repeats again in 2020.
Right, and I'd like keep that graphic up there, all right, because that's another thing there too. So like Buffalo, okay, the guy we're seeing in this picture here, Josh Allen is one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of football. Period. Like I hope everybody realizes we're watching John Elway. And this is the stuff that went around John. Well, he can't win the big game. He can't win the big game. And, to my defense has always been the team's all Josh Allen or too much Josh Allen. Look at this graphic here. All right, yeah, the offense isn't faltering in the playoffs. What's faltering? In the regular season, the Bills let up 20 points per game. When it gets to the playoffs, they let up 34 points a game and cause no turnovers. The offense actually plays better and scores more points in the postseason. But when the defense is letting up 34 points to the other team, you're not going to win those football games. But either way, they're never going to get this monkey off their back until they win the one in the playoffs.
You just have to.
Right.
Like, it stinks, but nobody reacts like this, like, oh, the Bills beat the Chiefs. Like, everyone's like, well, let's see them do it in the win.
I know, and that question is still real. I get that, and 100%. And, my point, too, is the Chiefs got to help him out. Josh Allen did everything he possibly could do with the 13-second game. Josh Allen did everything he could do last year, and there was the controversial quarterback sneak and the spotting of the ball and all of that. So, he's done what he has to do. Now it's time for Buffalo to help him a little bit. And yesterday, and we've seen this in the regular season, that's what we saw. I mean, that they come off the bye week, and they needed to remind me of how good they were because I was a team guy that was like, I'm down on it. I'm still one that sits here and goes, no, I'm going to take the Patriots to win the AFC East. But the Bills, the way they played the last 2 weeks, have scared me a little.
Yeah.
And it feels like, what did they do? They went to the bye week. We kind of talked about this last week. They looked at it, and they said, wait, we're running the ball really good. Why are we not running the ball more? And it feels like that's been the point of emphasis. So now you run the ball. You do that. And, of course, James Cook is he's awesome. Josh Allen and him are both awesome. You have that. You run the ball. You stay patient with that. And then Josh Allen, who was on fire yesterday and hitting all the bullseyes, but also some of those guys are wide open because Kansas City's like, oh, shit, we got to stop the run game in James Cook.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see what they've done on the offensive side of the ball with really making the run game the primary factor on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that's only going to help him down the stretch here.
A tale of two totally different games from the quarterbacks. Mahomes, a career-worst 44.1 completion percentage. Josh Allen, not a franchise record 88.5 completion percentage. He was surgical in this game, and he was well protected and protected himself with the way he can move, where Chris, it felt like every time Mahomes had to kind of move the pocket or readjust, there was just not a lot there for him.
Well, it became just a drop-back pass game all the time. It's just what Buffalo wants. This is what we've talked about, right? You've heard me say it, right? Buffalo, when they have to worry about stopping the run, that's when they're in trouble. When they go, oh, wait, all they're going to do is pass the ball? McDermott's like, I got 97 million coverages, and we are drop out here. We'll blitz this guy. We'll do that. And it plays right into their hands. So, yes, them getting the lead in the football game, and then Kansas City not traditionally being a consistent running the ball football team, that played to Buffalo. Buffalo's built to beat Kansas City. For this is we know Kansas City's never been a great running football team. The defense looked like a little bit like we talked about in the early part of Washington, Kansas City last week. No quick passes were there early on in the football game. There was nothing there. There was a lot of plays on Mahomes like, oh, wait, I want to throw it. Oh, somebody's there. Oh, let me hold it. Nobody's open. Oh, I have to get sacked or I throw the ball away. There was a ton of that in the football game. We're definitely going to do a deep dive on that. I got to watch the film and see what they did, right?
I'll give you the early coverage numbers for
go
the
ahead.
Bills. They really balanced it out. They ran cover 1 20% of the game, threw a little cover 2 at them with the 2 high safeties about 9% of the game. The one that sticks out to me, though, Chris, is that they ran cover 6 13 times, 22%. So they were trying to – it's weird to say confuse Mahomes because I don't really think Mahomes gets confused, but make him think an extra second with the split field coverages.
Change it up.
And then allow the pass rush to beat up on an offensive line that's, they're running out of bodies.
Well, exactly right. Beat up that way. But that's what's scary about Buffalo. Because when you get into that, they call these coverages, and McDermott's very creative in how he coaches it. And, like I've said before, sometimes I go, I don't even know what this coverage is. He's just got all the freaking guys dropping right where Mahomes or whatever offense is trying to throw the football. So the defense was impressive. Of course, the offense was impressive. This is a Kansas City Chiefs team that you've heard me say their defense is not as good as years past. It's not the same. Their offense is going to have to carry the burden a little bit more here this year as compared to maybe the last 3 years when they've gone to the Super Bowl, right? Ever since that Eagles win in the Super Bowl, I feel like they've gotten progressively a little worse on defense each year. You've heard me say this year, I think, they're in the transition of becoming, I think, an offensive football team almost to a degree. And, they didn't hold up their end of the bargain yesterday. And what I want to see, too, is did Mahomes get – one of Mahomes' kryptonites at times can be, oh, no, they're making plays, they're doing good, and then he starts to pass up easy completions and look for the big play. That's the only thing I'm interested in. But, man, a lot of replays I saw, I was like, ooh, people don't look open. And then, of course, he had people around him and making him, uncomfortable in the pocket on top of that. And then that leads to numbers that you just don't ever see in Kansas City. 3 for 13 on third down with Patrick Mahomes. He's arguably like the greatest third down quarterback in the history of football. 3 for 13. 44.1% completion percentage. Never before. 15 hits in the pocket. Rousseau, right? Joey Bosa all over him all game. I mean, those were things that we're just not used to seeing happen in Kansas City, and it was a big-time performance by Buffalo.
And check this out. 7 dropbacks for quick game with Mahomes.
Right, what was it?
He was 2 for 4 for 11 yards.
Yeah.
He was sacked twice on them, and only one of them was a screen. Another pass was broken up, and he had a turnover-worthy play.
That's where it starts right now in Kansas City. Take away the short passing game. That's what they became good at. So this is what everybody's going to look at. Now they got to find something else to combat that a little bit here. He was fortunate in the Commanders game that they're not good on defense, and he could buy time, and people came open down the football field. But this was a different animal last night with Buffalo. And that's where, Kansas City, I wonder if they'll try to make a move at the trade deadline.
I was going to ask, Brandon Beane or Brett Veach, who has more pressure on them to make a move?
I know. Probably Brandon Beane. Really,
I would agree, too, because you just got to get over the hump this year.
Exactly.
Like, it's there for the taking.
It's there for the taking. I think you can look at it and go, hey, there's some defensive guys out there that might be able to help them. I don't think Buffalo needs an offensive guy necessarily. Right? If they're going to continue to run the ball and stay dedicated to like this, they'll be fine on the offensive side of the ball. It's the defensive playmakers that I worry about. It's that graphic I just showed you where they let up 34 points a game in the playoffs and do stuff like that against the Kansas City Chiefs. Maxwell Harrison being back, that was big.
Yeah.
Because that gives him another cover body.
You just see the way he can run with speed threats. He's
He's the only guy in their secondary. You go, he can run with Xavier Worthy or Rasheed Rice down the field. Yeah. It's not going to be a problem. Did they make a move like that? I don't know. But yes,
Michael Hoyt torn Achilles.
That hurts for certainly. Yeah,
that was a guy that came back with some juice.
Right, the versatile big guy who can really do it all. I mean, Hoyt can play D tackle, D end, stand up linebacker. I mean, he's got it all there. But I can't one more time. Josh Allen is amazing. I just hope everybody realizes. I feel like there's going to be a faction of people that need to see him hold a Super Bowl, and they're going to go, yeah, he is amazing. And I'm just trying to, we're watching Elway, Marino. It's that kind of guy here. That's what we're watching. Yeah, we already know Mahomes is in Brady and Montanaville and Terry Bradshaw. We got that. But this guy that he played yesterday, Josh Allen, is right there with him. And he needs his team to help him a little bit, like Mahomes' teams has helped him a little in certain situations to get over the hump. And I just don't feel like that's been there. But, man, running the ball like that, playing D the way they're playing there, they've come out after the bye week with 2 really, really impressive wins. And making me rethink my assessment of them, and where they stand in the AFC.
The homies chiming in here on a Monday morning. Schnarbar says Joey Bosa looks like a legit difference maker in that defense.
Right.
Zach Louis said, will the Bills defense be able to sustain this after the loss of Michael Hoyt, who was killing it?
Yeah, that's what I worry about too, right? And again, what I do worry about with, you lose Hoyt, you lost Ed Oliver. You've heard me talk about they're not a big defensive football team. They match up with the Chiefs. And that's where we got to keep this in mind here. That's what you got to remember. You can be better than a team in totality and have some teams where you go, oh, wait, that's not a good matchup for us. We could lose this game, right? And this is a team that has been built to beat the Chiefs, and they match up really well with them. The problem with the Bills is going to be a team that has a little more imbalance, like we've discussed, right? Like in New England, who can run the ball and then chuck the ball deep down the football field.
If Baltimore runs the table
If Baltimore runs the table. Again, we've seen them go 40 points and move the ball in the playoff game at will last year. So that'll be the big thing. But to the question there and whether, Joey Bosa has been like surprisingly good. It's really good to see that. I'm happy for him.
Him staying healthy is probably one of the most important things to their team right now.
I think so.
Because he struggled to make it through the entirety of an NFL season for a while.
He was, what I was told is he took a more of an approach this year of being limber and loose and not being maybe so muscular. And he looks like that, right? He doesn't look quite as jacked, right? And as tight and tightly wound. And he's been really good that way. And Maxwell Harris to be back. Maybe he's another guy that can make plays in big moments for them. Again, Bills win. That's awesome, right? They're on the right track. I know they're one of the better teams in the AFC for sure. But there's like a few offenses I'd like to see them play against, I guess, to make me start to go, okay, yeah, their defense is real. They've got it figured out. They're doing the right things. And I'm just not there yet, but they're heading in the right direction.
There's no way that Kansas City misses the playoffs here, right? The record is so much different than the perception of the team.
I don't expect them to, no. I certainly wouldn't bet on that, but they got a schedule here.
Currently the 8th seed.
It's currently the 8th seed. They got to play the Broncos twice still.
That's huge.
They got to play the Colts right after the Broncos after the bye week. Right? The Houston Texans and the Chargers are still on their schedule. We've seen the Chargers beat them already. The Chargers can beat them. Here it is. The Houston Texans, as you hear me say every week, their defense is so good it can win them games almost by themselves. So that won't be easy. So, we're in a year here where we're seeing, the Chiefs have lost their late game magic. This is the third game this year where you go, oh, wait, close game. They usually pull this out. Oh, they didn't pull it out. And again, that's where I get into. I think they're in a transition here of their defense isn't going to win these games right now as much as it did the last few years. I think it is going to be no, Mahomes offense, you guys got to go down here and score a touchdown right now to win the game. You can't go, we're going to kick a field goal, our defense will make a stop, and we'll do that, which is the way they won so many clutch games in the last few years. Yeah, I think it's a little different for them and how they're going to have to approach this.
One more crazy Josh Allen stat before we move on. Yeah. The 4th player ever with 6+ rushing touchdowns in each of his first 8 seasons. Listen to the company he's in. Jim Brown, Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson.
That's insane.
That's it.
That's insane.
And he's a quarterback.
I'm surprised Cam Newton's not on that list. He'd have been one that I would have expected. Jalen Hurts will probably be on that list in another year or two because I would think he's there. But again, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, Josh Allen is insane. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever already. I know he's got to win some Super Bowls for everybody to believe that, but he does things on the football field. What is the weakness of Josh Allen? When you get down to it, everybody, when I get in stupid conversations sometimes with people where I go, you don't know anything about the game, their rebuttal is, well, you didn't get to the Super Bowl yet. He can't beat Mahomes.
53 players on an NFL roster, by the way.
It's just that's the whole argument. And I understand it, but I don't understand it. I don't. And I don't. And then we're looking at a guy where you go through it and you go, what are the flaws of his game? He's one of the greatest running quarterbacks we've ever seen. His arm is maybe one of the greatest, if not the greatest arm we've ever seen. He can be surgical like we saw last night and run an offense and just be boom, boom, boom. He plays backyard football as good as anybody you've ever seen. Right? He's a threat in goal line situations, quarterback runs. He's phenomenal. Everything about the Buffalo Bills is based around Josh Allen. And hopefully, a few more games like this, people will realize what we're watching here. Yo. Thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.